Hello and welcome back to the Engerati studio. I'm joined by Thomas Mikkelsen, who's the VP of Marketing and Sales for GreenEnergyOptions, or Geo, whichever you prefer. Geo produced the in-home displays where consumers can look at the data on that is being consumed of their chosen utility of either water or energy. We had an interview earlier with Paul from Anglian Water, where they were starting to look at the potential effects of these sort of displays based on to affect water consumption. Thomas, I just want to ask you, you guys manufacture these displays, so obviously you must have some data across your customer portfolio that gives you some insight into whether consumers actually change behavior by having this information there. The antithesis of that, which is some of the things that I've read, is that people get really excited in the beginning and then it all tails off and you're back to the old paradigm effectively, but you've got an expensive display.
Exactly.
So what sort of patterns are you guys seeing?
Yeah, it's a very interesting question actually, because I agree very much. We see different behavior, we have very different thinking about what can an in-home display do. Also, we experience that people actually react differently to the product. So I would say that we have had several trials with different utilities. Electricity has been the primary ones until now. And I would say yes, the first findings is that it has to be plug and play. It has to be quite easy to install by the end customer. Both in terms of pricing, we don't want to sell a thing that has to be installed by installer, that's an extra price. It has to be quite easily set up. So that's one thing. The next thing is that we want also the display to work very easily to be understood and read. So we work with graphics instead of only numbers. I see this also as a very important thing. The next thing is that the first user cases that we have explored showed that maybe 50% of these in-home displays were left in the drawer. And basically, that's not what we want. We want people to actually use it.
Is that because they were given away or they weren't?
No, even when people actually purchased them, we saw that, oh, it's so difficult, I haven't got the time today, I'll wait. So it's just been put there and forgotten. So how do we actually then create what we call customer engagement? So we've been looking into this, and what we found out was that we actually need continuous communication, and we can do that on different platforms. It does not necessarily have to be on an in-home display, but an in-home display has an important role in many households, as you can communicate to the kids in the family, you can communicate even if you don't have a smartphone or a web portal that you want to start. So we see that this way that we can communicate on different platforms actually is an important thing in terms of getting this customer engagement.
When you say communicate on different platforms, what exactly do you mean in terms of that your display interacts with my smartphone, for example? Is that the sort of thing you're working on?
That is one opportunity, definitely, yeah. Because we realized, as you said before, not everyone's probably want to have the display. Some people want it, but we also need to work on other platforms, and maybe even we need to send out the information that, well, did you know that your average consumption is actually a little higher than your neighbors? These kind of benchmark things actually triggers people to go and look at their display or their smartphone. So it is about getting into people's mind and understand where are they right now and giving them this information.
So are you introducing, to touch on a different genre, but it's been written about a lot in the digital space. Are you guys starting to look at some of the gamification techniques almost, and I use that word in terms of hang on, if we can get the inherent competitiveness out, well,
yeah.
I don't want to be above average. I want to be below average, and things like that. And
I think that would be the right word, even though gamification, what is it really?
Yeah.
But yes, having the opportunity to do the benchmark, saying to people, well, yeah, as you said before, you know what? We can help you to actually reduce this consumption, or you can even challenge your neighbor who can be lowest in consumption over a year's period. Yeah. Or even, and this is actually then maybe a game changer even for the utility industry, because the utilities have been struggling very hard. What should be their offerings? But low prices or green energy. Maybe it is about actually creating a communication with the end consumer where they can see, well, the utility can actually help us to reduce the product that we are selling, but they're doing it because then we will also stick to them. So it's maybe even turning into a retention program. So yeah, gamification, end user communication services, that would be the right word.
So do you really see yourselves as being I'm struggling for the right words, so I don't want this to come across as glib. It's like going, that you aren't just someone who's a box shifter to the utility companies. You see yourselves as an active participant in affecting this change, and the way you do it is, well, the way we can do that is by making sure that our displays are designed in such a way that the consumers get it, and things like that. Do you see that is where you need to play?
Most definitely, yeah. I think we've realized that we thought in the beginning that everybody wants a display because it's so obvious for us working in this industry that then you can reduce your consumption, but people are different. We have to realize that. So yes, we then go into a business where we see, yeah, we will have to actually help the utilities crunch their data, look at them, say, what are the patterns here? Can we offer end user communication based on the knowledge that we can derive from this, and then actually start what we call a customer journey, where we can start the engagement with the utility based on our services and our data collection.
And are you you know, there was a lot of talk, and there was a few other interviews I did earlier on today where one of the things that was coming out is that while the industry is almost sold on this idea that the interconnectedness of all of their devices will allow them to manage their ecosystem a whole lot better, the sell, for want of a better word, to the consumer is so much more complex. Who do you think owns that in your mind? And again, I'll take this as maybe a personal answer rather than a company
answer. That's all right.
Yeah.
No, it is really what is needed now. It is to understand the end consumer in this, because I agree, now this thing has grown into a complexity that no one's really able to understand or grasp. So we need to communicate in accordance with where are the customers actually now. So let's start, if the consumer have a big water consumption, why not start there? Why would we have to offer everything at once? Why not just start a simple place, work from there, and then we can start the offering and build it from there. And I think that's the opportunity now for utilities to realize, well, you don't have to go out and sell a big system that costs a fortune. You can actually start just here with a very basic thing, and then you can develop it from there. So that's actually a workaround of the whole business case. Instead of trying to do everything, start here and then work from there in different. The pace will probably then be that someone will move fast, someone will move slow, but we will have an opportunity to go into everybody's home.
I mean, that strikes me as sensible, because if you're starting in one place, you don't have too many variables, you know, as
it's much more simple to communicate.
In my degree, I was always taught, you know, cut out the moving parts and you can understand what's making the difference, because you've got too many things, you don't know what adjustment is actually having the effect. You know, it's just like, I don't know whether you're a Formula One fan, but when they keep talking about their setups, sometimes they just have to go back to basics because they've messed around so much, they don't know what's actually working. Can I throw you a different question? You've obviously been in the industry, you've been walking around this great conference, really busy today as well. Personally for you, what was the one thing that you kind of picked up today where you thought, oh, that's interesting, or that's something worth exploring?
I think that one thing that really hit me was the fact that we have now moved from everybody talking to now there's actually real action out there. As you said before, we've seen Paul Glass before from Anglian Water. They're actually now into this game of, we want to try, we want to see, is this real? So we've moved from the talking and into real action and trying it out. And I think we see that in very many places within the conference. Yeah,
I'm particularly excited about that. It'd be interesting to see how that journey progresses and the feedback of all those pilot rollouts as well. Thomas, thank you for making the time today. So that's all we've got time for. Thank you for watching, and yes, many more interviews on angelati.com, as well as all the presentations available for download on Metering Europe and the other original research that we're producing. And thank you again for watching.